my evangelism fund, my outreach fund. Would you be willing, you know, if you eat at McDonald's, and some of you probably do, some of you probably don't, but if you eat at McDonald's, would you be willing to eat off the dollar menu instead of the value meal menu so that you could buy a meal for the next person behind you? I mean, it can be done. You know, there's always some way you can make it work. Will it involve some sacrifice? Sure. Welcome to life. Yeah. It's all a matter of what your priorities are.
That's good.
If your priorities are other people and God's children, is any sacrifice too big? You know, I eat off the dollar menu a lot. And that's okay. It still fills my belly up. You know, still, you know, it's still there. It's still there. And you know, and quite honestly anymore, I'm to the point I don't need those big meals anyway. I like the dollar menu because all the other stuff's gotten so big, I don't want to eat that much. So a dollar menu is fine for me. There's a lot of things you can do. But it's just really, you know, what sacrifice are you willing to make? Are you willing to sacrifice a little bit in the natural so you can be extravagant in the spiritual? Or are you going to be stingy in the spiritual so you can blow it all on yourself? Choice is yours. Choice is yours. God loves givers. God's a giver. And we were created in His image, so interesting. Maybe we're supposed to be givers too. We are. Now the interesting thing about what we're talking about, and it does have a name, some of the things we're talking about. I mean, we're really talking about living in the outflow, which is God's love flowing out through us. But the vehicle we're really talking about here is called servant evangelism. And the neat thing about servant evangelism is that it wins the heart before it confronts the mind. It bypasses the mind because it's God's love reaching out to the heart. We're not trying to convince them of anything. We're just showing them love. And that bypasses the brain and goes straight to the heart. People understand that. It takes words to convince the mind, but actions speak louder than words. Amen. Every time. Amen. Doesn't matter what's coming out of your mouth. Sure. It's the actions that matter. Yeah. When we do a small act of kindness, it nudges people a little bit closer to God. It bypasses their mental defenses. The average Christ follower, and we're going to say Christ follower rather than Christian because honestly Christian's got kind of a bad name. Because a lot of Christians are not really Christ followers, it doesn't seem like. So let's be Christ followers. The average Christ follower is willing to hand a stranger a can of cold Coke on a day, or on a hot day. It's low risk. It doesn't hurt. Most times you're not going to get rejected. It's easy. It shows God's love. You know what? It's fun. It's fun. I'm not a real social person until you get to know me. I'm a fun guy. But you know, I'm relatively a shy person unless I'm in a ministry situation or a business situation. I'm not shy then. But you put me in a room full of people I don't know and have no purpose, I just back up and be a wallflower.
You listen.
And I listen. That's my personality. But you know, and so I see some that don't believe me. well, it's true. And you know, and I have a little bit of we'll call it apprehension. I don't want to call it fear, but you know, a little bit of apprehension about going out in a strange city, because I really don't know anything about Olathe, don't know really anybody over here. And you know, it's not really even worry, it's just a human feeling that's built into me. It's like, you know, well, I don't know. But you know, I know it's the right thing to do. And I went, and you know, it's fun. Were there some people that said, well, no thanks, I'm diabetic, I can't have sugar. Absolutely. There's going to be some of those. But by and large, it was a fun experience. It was easy. It was not a problem. It's evangelism for scaredy cats is what it is. Because you're touching lives and showing God's love. Now imagine, a lot of people, a lot of Christians want to testify to Jesus as silent witnesses. They're just going to be good Christians and let it rub off. Well, no harm done there, I guess. But I'm not sure a lot of good done either. Imagine if you were in court and your witness came in to testify for you and chose to be a silent witness. Not going to accomplish a whole lot in your case. And I suspect that you might not be real happy with their performance. I'll let you do the math and translate that to God. Perhaps we need to be a little more intentional about our Christ-following testimony. A little more intentional and perhaps a little more vocal or a little more actional in reaching out to the people around us. Remember, this is no strings attached. It's not a bait and switch thing. Like, I'll be nice to you, but I expect. No. You know, if you choose to do something, if God moves you to do something, that's fine. If God moves you to do it, that's fine. But you know, if we're attaching strings and trying to manipulate or influence people unduly, that's called witchcraft. We're not called to exhibit Christian witchcraft people. We're called to exhibit God's love. Yeah. Don't try and do a bait and switch on people. Can one person make a difference? I believe they can. There's a story about a young man named Kyle. And I've had this floating around for quite some time, used on a number of occasions, but I want to share it with you because it very poignantly, I believe, shows that one person can make a difference. And it's